Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes with Liberty Lass. We have about 370,000 XP to go to get to level 38. I actually thought I lost the last video. What happens is automatically OBS saves it with a timestamp, and I dragged it into the folder that I have like pending uploads, and I forgot to rename it. So I didn't see it there. I'm like, where the heck is it? Well, it's at the beginning, because it's alphabetized alphanumerically, and so the timestamp is starts 2024 dash whatever, and so that 2 is ahead of whatever my titles are, and so yeah, it's right at the beginning, and I thought I was going to have to apologize for not having correctly saved everything, but I did, so I think we've got everything. We're continuing on the Terra Conspiracy, and now we have to do is we did a bunch of drug raids. The Devouring Earth are on, right? They aren't through with Tanya Tyler. I'd like you to go to the safe house and debrief her. And I believe we're not going to get there in time. Maybe we will. At some point, she's going to get turned into Terra, which is basically a devoured as Hamadan's sort of mate, as it were, because she was Hamadan, the guy named Hamadan. His last name is Hamadan. She was his girlfriend originally. So from a block away, we could tell something is wrong. Where are the guards? Yeah, of course. The Devouring Earth are here ahead of us at +2 to us, because the mission is +2. We're still doing okay on +2, so we're going to keep it. It's fine on +2. It's really the +3s that are a bit of a challenge, in particular from the Mistreaks, and just also how much resistance they have to us. Everything is more resistant at higher level to you, right? It's all not absolute level, but it's your relative level, right? It's not that level 37 has X resistance, it's that level 37 has X resistance against a level 35, and so forth. So, we got all these little guys. Let's do a little... Can we get them? A couple of them at least? And that takes care of the little guys. Alright, so we have 4 guards to rescue, so these must be the guys who were protecting Tanya. And my guess is she's already gone. And the last one is going to tell us some clue about where she went. And well, there's a clue. Love letter. Oh, guard story. One of the guards said, we tried to stop them, but they took Tanya. What's his first name? I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember his name. It's like Phil Hamadan, but I can't remember what his actual first name is. It's in the text somewhere, and I don't want to waste your time while I'm trying to read through it. Anybody who remembers, post in the comments so that everybody else can see it. So somebody was saying in the comments, we were talking about, I was mentioning perma-hasten, and they were talking about how it works and why it's used. So in my day, and this is like during live and early in live, right? Like I stopped playing City of Heroes around 2000 and late 2009, early 2010. Never played it again before it was taken away from us. And then when it came back, you've seen what I did, right? Played Silver Phoenix, and then I switched to the Rebirth server because the Homecoming servers banned any recordings on their of gameplay on their server, and then if you posted it, your account could be banned and so on. And so I started playing on Rebirth, and Rebirth has some slightly different mechanical rules than Homecoming has, and I played that for a while. So you guys have seen that. Most of my knowledge of the nuts and bolts of City of Heroes really comes from the original launch version of the game where I really, between, 2004, 2008-ish, where I really was paying attention to stat bonuses and character builds and stuff like that. I never ever did permahasten in my life, and I mostly did what I was doing for fun and enjoyment and playability for me, not for maxing things out. But things were very, very different in the past in terms of like difficulty setting. Didn't exist at first, and then when they did do it, it was much more coarse-grained than it is now, and I can talk about that in a little bit. But so my knowledge is kind of out of date for a lot of this stuff, and in particular for the stuff I never actually did, right? So I mean, like, I never actually did permahasten. I was first introduced to the idea of permahasten with my Super Reflex Scrapper back in the day, long before the Global Defense nerf. Elude was twice as good as it is now at base, and you could put lots of enhancements on it to improve it. And so what I did was I took Elude and I multi-slotted it. I don't remember how many slots, and 5, 6, I don't remember. And I, put defense in the slots, and I was told that that's a weak way to do it. And what you should really do is skip all the toggles so you don't have the endurance cost, right? And you want to go perma-hasten, perma-elude. Right, now hasten and elude are both click powers. And so the way to do permanent hasten, and I can show you that, at least the base, right? I don't have, my hasten doesn't recharge fast enough to perma, right? And nowadays, without enhancement sets giving you these extra bonuses, right? These set bonuses here, right? Like this one, which gives us a recharge time, right? Doesn't it, somewhere? Or maybe not. This one gives us resistance, but some of them give recharge time. You need those. But it used to be that when you slotted hasten, right? Hasten, I don't remember what it originally took, but hasten now takes 7 minutes and 30 seconds to recharge. And it used to be if you 6-slotted it, right, you could get it down to less than 2 minutes, probably 1 minute and 55, which meant that as soon as it ended, you could re-up it. And what people used to do, control click. Now, this is going to take 3.5 minutes right now. Because now, why is it so much faster than the 5 minutes? Because it improves recharge on itself, right? So I'm going to leave it clicked. When the 3 minutes and 30 seconds or whatever expires, what's going to happen is the hasten will automatically fire again, right? And so you have to leave it that way so that you never forget it. Because if you forget it and you let it drop, then if your entire build is focused around perma-hasten, then whatever else you needed it to be running to recharge, to speed up the recharge of, is going to not work, right? So you have this click power, and you had to auto it. You had to, like, so that it would be permanent. And then they didn't take any of the toggles because the elude bonus was better than, was like as good as the fully enhanced toggles and passives together, right? The passive gave 10% base, 15% enhanced, and the toggles gave 20% base, 30% enhanced. That's 45, and I believe elude by itself was about 40 or 45%. And so they were like, you don't even, if the 40% is good, well, it'll be just as good permanent, right? And then you don't have to pay the endurance cost of all those toggles. And so I said to the person who was telling me this, okay, that means you need to have hasten control click. What about elude? He said, well, you have to watch it, and as soon as it expires, you've got to click it. And I said, well, what about practice brawler? He said, same thing. You've got to watch it, and as soon as it expires, you've got to click it. And I said, immediately, I am not effing doing that, right? That is ridiculous. It's much easier for me to turn the toggles on and to auto-click you do sort of perma practice brawler, which is the Mez defense, and I'll just turn on elude as an emergency power. As my former supergroup leader in the Daybreak Initiative, Nina, used to call it an oh crap power, right? And people were saying now that it's bad under the current way things are because with all the sets you don't need the defense from Elude. And Nina said, and I said, oh, I love that power, when you get in trouble or whatever. And Nina said, it's not something you'd use regularly, but it is a good oh crap power, right? Like she kind of said, you need oh crap powers that buff you beyond your normal buffs, right? Because if you don't have them, then you're when something bad happens to you, you don't have any way to fix it, right? To defend yourself against whatever that bad thing is. And so I just used Elude as an oh crap power, and I kept my toggles on, and I didn't have to think about it, and I auto-clicked this way for Practice Brawler. And therefore, I never perma-hasted, because that character, the auto power needs to be Practice Brawler, because I don't want to have to deal with it. Now, on Rebirth, I think, it was Rebirth, not Homecoming, right? They changed Practice Brawler to be a toggle. So, it'd be easier to do without having to do Practice Brawler. But when the game was live, that's what people were using Perma Hasten to do. It was a lot of it was every power set, just about every power set, has some sort of a really long recharge, very powerful power. And it was balanced by the devs on the logic that you can't use it all the time, and it's your emergency power, your oh crap power, your big, you start the battle with an alpha strike, and bam, but then you can't use it again for several spawns, that kind of thing. And so it's some kind of a big power, and you just saw the auto click, right, for permahaste. I'm gonna now undo that because I don't want it on auto, but it makes everything recharge faster, and that includes your attack powers and stuff. So what somebody said in the comments was, oh, it's great for speeding up your attack chain. And I said, well, I've never heard of it being used that way, right? Nobody I knew back in the day who was doing permahaste and was using it to make their attack chain a closed attack chain, because we already have a closed attack chain without haste and we don't need it, right? Now it does speed things up a little bit, but we really don't need it to have a closed attack chain. And, with about 5 powers and a single recharge enhancement on each power, you can kind of close your attack chain already. You really don't need a closed, a hasten to do the attack chain. And what my experience is it used hasten, you permit hasten to perma another really long recharge power that you couldn't perma any other way, right? If you put Elude on, I don't think if you put Elude on 6 recharge, it could still overlap. I think you had to have the hasten on top of it, which somebody corrected me. It doesn't count as a single SO, it counts as 2 SO rechargers. And so it's a 70%, I think. So 2 green SOs in recharge. And so what people wanted it, one of the reasons people wanted it is so that they could 6-slot their attack powers. The other reason that people wanted it, they wanted to 6-slot their attack powers for damage, right? So back in the day, the reason it was done was because you could get the perma haste would make this permanent build up. You would 6 recharge that or whatever. You could have perma haste, perma build up, and that meant you didn't need to slot accuracy or recharge in your powers, right? And then you would get 6-slotted stamina, so you don't have to slot endurance in your powers either. And then you would just 6-slot all your attacks for damage. That's the other way people used to use it. But you can't do that anymore, all this stuff anymore, because 6-slotting doesn't work, right? There's enhancement diversification, which made it so that doing any more than 3 slots is a waste, right? And as somebody pointed out, when you get to the really high level invention trainers, the generic inventions, when you get to the really high level ones, they're so good that you really almost only need 2 of them to get to the cap. right? Because they get better. So do we have 40s here? I think I have. Okay, good. I got a 40. So here's a 30. 34% bonus. Three of them get you to about 99%, which is sort of the cap. 35. So 36% bonus, right? So even two of them get you already to like 75, and three of them you're almost a waste, right? 40 is now a 38%. So if you keep going up, right, when you have 50 of them, they're like a 42 or something percent. And I don't know if you can get 53, but if you can, right, it might be the equivalent of like 44%, 45%, right? So just two of them is like 90. So you're almost at the cap with just two. You don't even need three. And so, in any case, you can't do the 6 slotting stuff. But what people were using permahaste to do was to get these long recharge powers to overlap and be permanent as well. That's what I knew them doing. But apparently, according to the comments, a lot of people are doing things now like trying to make a shorter attack chain where you just get 3 desirable powers that really work well together, and you sort of use permahaste for that. So the combo was, I don't know, follow through, focus, and something else from Claws. What are we missing here? Protect the safe house. Well, we certainly couldn't do that. I must have missed a guy. So that basically with those, you could have those 3 attacks going. Where is this guy? Oh, is somebody stuck on a wall? Or is he up above? No. Oh, there's some more down here. Now, how the heck did I miss them? Oh, they're over here. So there must have been patrols. So anyway, apparently there are people who do that so that they can... is this an ambush? Well, how the heck did I miss that? This must have been an ambush or a patrol. Anyway, they now use hasten so they can, I guess, take 3 powers that work well together and just make an attack chain out of 3 powers. I guess that's useful if you want to buy a lot of other powers that you don't want to have all the primaries or something. I've never needed to do that with my character, and as you can see, right, we're fighting +2s and +3s with, basically we're on a +2.5 mission here, right, with about half +2s and half +3s, and we've had 0 issues with this character. Alright, now, I don't know if you guys noticed that. This is 4th or 5th time this has happened where I came out of a mission, turned on flight, hit the up button. Now, I'm not doing it, but I was pressing the up button and this happened. And then I let go and press it again, and then I start going up. So I don't know what's going on with that. If anybody knows why, if it's just a bug or what, let me know. Now we have to rescue Tanya in Founder's Fall, so I think this one is going to be the one where she's turning green. What are we doing in enhancements? We got a couple we can sell. How are we doing on recipes? Oh man, we got so many of these things. We can make a damage resistance one. Let's head to the base briefly and do some crafting. Since the base portal is right here, and then from the base we can go to Founder's Falls. It is nice having a little base that at least has all the teleporting for us and the crafting stations and salvage and everything, so that we can make stuff. I really do like having bases. Bases are cool. I remember when they put these in and everybody like went bananas because we thought it was so awesome. And over time, they made more and more items that you could use, and now the Homecoming guys have unlocked even more. Okay, so titanium coating, we're going to create that one. Since we already have it, and we're just going to go over here to the sets and drop it off. I have no idea whether this character is going to use any of these, or whether it may be a future character that uses them, but I feel like it's worth it to, put stuff in there as we go, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so what do we need here? We don't need fear for sure. Damage. I think we could use a damage, right? No, we do not need damage. Or we're going to need damage. Okay, so we're going to need damage for total focus. What I really want is accuracy, health, and endurance modification. And we don't have any of that. We have recharge reduction, but we don't have any of that stuff. So, and I think defense we can use somewhere, can't we? Is it Indomitable Will? Yes. That's psionic defense. We might someday need that. I don't know. Let's go ahead and create it. And then we're going to need damage, so we want Masterwork Weapon. I believe that's a white. Yep, right there. Let's grab 2 of those so we can make one, and then we'll make another one later if we get the salvage for the recipe for it. And these guys are just going to go into our IO box. 1, 2. I don't really know why I have this SO1 here. I doubt I'm ever going to use it, but whatever. All right, so let's head back to the transporter room. And we're going to go to Founders Falls. Boop. And our mission is nearby, not too far. Half a mile. I remember a long time ago, I'm sure there was a statistic for it, but I remember when I had flight, now this course is enhanced, right? We have a trainer, an invention, generic invention on it and stuff. I remember getting flight, and I had super jumps. I had flight with Liberty, the original Liberty Lass, who didn't have a dash in her name, because I got the actual name back in April of 2004. I almost said 2024. April 2024 isn't here yet as I record this. It's 2 days before that. And speaking of that, we are about a month from the 20th anniversary of the launch of City of Heroes. I wonder if Homecoming is going to do anything special at the end of April. If not, maybe we'll do something special. I don't know what. Maybe we'll make up our Dominator or something. Even though I'm not going to probably be playing it yet. We'll do something cool. I don't know, guys. Somebody make suggestions in the comments. Anyway, I had flight with Liberty Lass, and I had super jump with my martial arts character. And so I can't remember which zone I went into, and I basically set up a waypoint, stood exactly 1.00 miles away, and then started my stopwatch and ran to it, or jumped to it. And I think I did regular sprint and obviously flying with the different characters. And I can't remember now if both of them had Swift slotted or not. I can't remember. And so so what I did was I set up myself a mile away, right? And then I ran to it. And then I set a waypoint a mile away, and I super jumped to it. And then I logged in as Liberty Lass, set a waypoint a mile away, and I flew to it. And I actually sort of figured out how many miles per hour sprint makes you run, how many miles per hour super jump makes you jump, and how many miles per hour flight makes you fly. I don't ask me because I don't remember, but I actually calculated it. And I don't remember if the number was already known, but I was like, I'm going to actually do it. How many seconds or minutes does it take me to fly a mile? And that sort of thing. It's kind of fun that you can do that kind of stuff in City of Heroes. I guess you could do it in any MMO where they give you the distance to a waypoint. But, for superheroes, in Champions, they always used to translate whatever inches of combat per phase to MPH, right, miles per hour. I remember one of my friends getting very upset because he asked me to house rule faster speed conversion of flight. He only had 15 inches of flight, and it converted to like 60 miles an hour or something like that. And he said, come on, my mom's Plymouth can go faster than that. I said, then buy a non-combat multiplier or buy more inches of flight. But I'm not going to just house rule that it translates into some faster speed. Okay, so now we're going to set hasten up because the swarms are going to slow me down. And the other problem with the swarms is that they're like they fly away from you, so they kind of can take more than one hit. And of course, they always come back at you while you're animating the previous blow. And so they come to you, you're stuck in an animation. By the time you get out of the animation, they fly away. It's all mostly coincidental because I think it's just on a timer, right? But it's incredibly frustrating to try and fight them. And you can't beat them in a way that's going to make it so that they don't slow you at all. And that's why we have hasten. Because now if anything, not just these guys, but if anything tries to slow me, I can pop hasten and counteract it. Hasten's a great power. Unfortunately, I feel like the COH devs made hasten just a little bit too good. Especially they made it too good at launch. They nerfed it, of course, and then enhancement diversification finished it off. But it's still a great power, but they made it, you know, a little bit too good. And it becomes one of these powers where, like, it's almost like you're stupid not to take it. And that's, like, you shouldn't do that. In a role-playing game, it should be powers are chosen to fit the concept of a character, not because you have, because they're must-haves. The reason why Swift, Health, and Stamina were made inherents was the same thing, right? They became seen as must-haves because the developers made the endurance rate, recharge rate, and regeneration rate, whatever, recovery rate, and the health recovery rate a little too slow, and they made the endurance use a little bit too high. And so people got frustrated with their character constantly gasping for breath. And Champions actually did the same thing. Originally, Champions was 1 endurance per 5 points of a power, and it became 1 endurance per 10. Why? Because everybody was taking reduced endurance cost on their powers because 1 per 5 was so much that you would run out of endurance in 2 phases. Right? And so, we don't have any swarms coming out of Stewie now. Okay. See if I can get out of here. See if I can AoE these guys. Just try to get the rebels out of there. Guess not. So yeah, what happened? Well, mostly what happened is, if you're talking about like some of my friends, right, they would try to do 295, our limit was 300 point characters, right? Why are they doing 295 point characters? Well, because about 60 points worth of their character was reduced endurance cost. Because it costs so much, right? And now part of this was power inflation. Players wanted, you know, 16d6 attacks, and Champions was made assuming you were going to have 8d6 attacks. Right? Well, if you do the math on that, well, it's twice as much endurance. And so then the villains had to have more defenses, higher defenses, and more stun, and that meant you needed even more attack to do damage. It's an arms race, right? Same thing with any other role-playing game. And so, but what they realized with Champions was people were spending so many points on reduced endurance costs, and that's not actually anything to do with your character concept. It's just there because if you don't do that, the character is, you know, goes 2 phases and has to stop and take a recovery. And that's not very comic booky, right? It's not very genre appropriate. You don't see Wolverine go 2 phases and then stop to take a recovery, right, after 2 attacks. And so they did the same thing, actually, right? And so the City of Heroes solution to that wasn't to make all the powers cost less endurance. It was to say, okay, everybody gets stamina for free. And then Rebirth, they give you the slots for stamina for free too, so that you don't have to waste slots on it, and you can just automatically have the slots. You still have to, of course, buy the enhancements, but at least for SOs, which is all you really need on that power, that's trivial, right? We can afford full sets of SOs now until the cows come home. Right, we have how much influence do we have right now, guys? 17 million. Right, and it costs a couple million every 5 levels to do a full set of SOs. So what do we have left? The level 40, level 45, and level 50. And if I remember right, it costs something like 2.53 and 3.5, or 3.5 and 4 million. That's 10 million. We already have 17, right? And we're going to have more than that as we go, because we're going to be selling this stuff. Right, so even without inventions and stuff, we would have no problem. We would have absolutely no problem maintaining the enhancements, and so that's not an issue, right? The real issue is having the slots available, right? Because we need the slots for so many things that it's really frustrating. To have to put slots into stamina, right? Which is just there. You see these guys? I can't. They keep coming back to me as I'm animating my attack. So it's almost like you have to stop attacking the actual guy so that you have time to attack the stinking swarm, which is really annoying. How many times have I forgotten to do build-up? Okay, I can explain why. Apparently my speaker, which is sort of off center but kind of in front of my screen, got moved, and it was actually covering these 2 buttons. It's covering like all of this area, but I don't sprint and brawl, so I didn't notice it. So my guess is I've been forgetting build up a lot because I just haven't seen it, right? I use the visuals a lot in this game to see what I'm doing rather than key binding and stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff has changed. So one of the things I did want to mention, I don't remember if I've mentioned it in this playthrough, is the difficulty. Originally, of course, you couldn't set the difficulty, and all you were doing was fighting +0s and maybe +1s. The game became trivially easy by this level, to the point where by the early 40s I was bored out of my mind. You're just whipping through missions in like 5-10 minutes, and the only reason a mission might take you longer than that is this kind of stuff, right? The maze. But if it's a normal mission in a warehouse or office building or something, you just go in there and just beat everything up. It was absolutely no threat to you. Look, these guys aren't much of a threat to us. At least there's something, right? Somewhat of a challenge. But against +0s, man, it would be stupidly easy, and it was. And so I got bored and I stopped playing. And then they put the difficulty slider in, and the original difficulty slider wasn't a notoriety thing down here, right? You had to go talk to the Freedom Corps people, right? And when you talk to them, their options were not +0 to +4 or whatever, or -1 to +4. There was no way to go down. I argued for going down, but they only went up. And instead of having a separate toggle for bosses, team size, adjust level, and so on, the bosses and solo AVs thing wasn't there. And they had these, I think it was verbal descriptions of, you know, challenging, whatever. I can't remember what the names were. And you had 4 settings, right, above, that could go above normal. You had normal, right? And then when you went to like vigilante level or whatever they called it, the first level up was more enemies, right? It basically, I don't remember what it was. It was equivalent of it was equivalent of your on a team of 3 or 4. I remember I used to like that setting for my tank. +0, but a lot of them, because she had invincibility, which was more powerful as you get more surrounded. And so I would just taunt the whole spawn, get surrounded by like 8 or 9 guys. They would just completely whiff me all the whole time, and then I would just, with my fire attacks, I would just AoE them to death, and like, or to unconsciousness, and little by little whittle them down without taking any damage. If you went up higher level, it was hard with tankers because they just didn't do enough damage, even fire tankers, and it would just take forever to take out a spawn, right? So it's just much easier to fight against plus zeros and a lot of them and just melt them with your fire. And so that's what I used to do. The next setting up was against solo but +1 enemies by default, right? So kind of level +1, but times, should be ×1 players, but you see, just for a single character. Then the next setting up was +1s, but more of them. And then the next setting up was +2. So you could either fight basically +0 times 3 or 4, or +1 times 0, or +1 times 3 or 4, or +2. I don't think there was any +2 times multiple, right? There was, I think, +2 solo was the highest it went. And so, like, for my scrapper, I just put everything on +2. And for my tanker, I put it on +0, but multiple. We've missed somebody. Lord only knows where the missing characters are. This is going to be where Tanya is. I thought I saw some word balloons down here, and because it was talking, I wasn't paying any attention. We got to take this out because otherwise when I tab, it's going to target this. The fact that these things stay around indefinitely, like literally if I stayed in this mission for 7 hours without getting auto-logged out, that thing would still be going, even though its owner has long ago been defeated and knocked out and sent to the Brickstown, right? Sent to the Zig. Okay, so there's some guys, but they're not who I'm looking for. So I'm hoping if we take out enough guys, maybe we'll get a red arrow that shows us where Tanya is and her captors. Man, 2 misses in a row. And it's 80% to hit. It's not like I'm against these +3s. It's not like I'm sitting there at like 40% to hit, right? You get miss streaks with 80% to hit. So yeah, originally there was no difficulty setting, and then the first cut they made at it was very coarse. So let's just do this. I'll just do a text so you can see it. Your settings were normal, right, which was +0 times 0 players, right? Then you had, I don't know what it was called, enhanced. I can't remember what it was called. It was +0, but something like ×3 or 4. And then you had, I don't know what it was called, heroic or something. That was +1. And then super heroic was like +1 times 3. And then, I don't know what they called it, gladiator or something. I have no idea what these names were called. Was +2. But those were your options, right? So that's all you had. I don't think they had any more than that. Might have had +2 times 3. Somebody remind me in the comments. But that's kind of, those were the difficulty settings they had. And then at some point after I stopped playing again, they changed it so that you could set it to specific pluses and minuses and specific group sizes, all the way up to 8. I'm not sure if they had that done the last time I played City of Heroes. I don't remember. I feel like the first time I really noticed it was on Homecoming. But I could be wrong about that. Is this where Tanya is? No. It's needle in a haystack time, guys. The problem is I've already, in the last day or two, auto-completed, so if I can't find her, I can't auto-complete this. We're going to have to, like, wait a few days. Are there red arrows anywhere else? Have I missed anything up here? I can't imagine she was up there. I imagine she would be in one of these rooms. But I'm just not seeing her. Alright, there's another tab target, so let's take this out. I'm tabbing like a fiend, but I'm not getting anything. Don't know where she is. This is probably the most frustrating aspect of City of Heroes. When you're trying to find something, you have no idea where it is. It's in some little corner that you just didn't see as you were going through. And you're just flying around for like 10 minutes trying to find the stupid thing. And yeah, I don't see... Oh, there. Way off in the corner. There she is. Zoom in here. Is she turning green? Yep, she's turning green. If you can see it there, it's dark, but you can still see she is turning green. There's some more guys over there. I guess they didn't come this way. And she says, something terrible has happened. Yeah, you're turning green, Tanya. You're turning into Terra. One of the things I don't like about some of the Devouring Earth, these guys are alright, but the really gigantic tall ones, although they are cool looking, they are sort of a pain in the neck to fight in enclosed spaces, just because what happens to the camera and everything. But that is it for this mission, and I think that's going to be it for this episode, because we're already over 40 minutes. I thought we might finish this story arc. Well, let's see. We could possibly finish this story arc if it's the finale. Yeah, let's try it. Hopefully I don't regret this, because I need to make dinner. But let's try it, because I think it's pretty quick. And it might level us up too. I don't know. How much XP do we need? Because I don't want to, like... Yeah, we probably won't level up, but I don't want to do just this one quickie mission. This is an outdoor mission that should be quick, because I think all we have to do is defeat her. I don't think you have to take everybody else out. I don't think there are any kidnapped people. I think it's just her, and I know where she usually is. So we're going to try it. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to pause it here. If I can't get hold of her quickly, I will unpause it back at the train station, and we'll just stop. Alright, we've got her. She's right there. So I'm going to take out a few guys around her, and then we'll take her out. Usually she's over by that parking garage. So I went there first and didn't see her, and I thought, oh, did she not spawn in? Am I going to have to fight a bunch of guys before she spawns? But she did spawn in, and we're good. Look at all these stupid rebels. God, what a waste of time to make you fight them. They can't do anything to you. They're just a little annoyance. So this is another case where, right, so if we don't need it for anything else, although she'll probably summon swarms, if you don't need it for anything else, another good use of Hasten is just against a big arch villain or a elite boss, right? Because then all your powers recharge faster and stuff. Right, so then the last group we're going to fight is going to be over here. I just don't want, in case there's any running around, I don't want to aggro them too. They probably don't matter. They're only +1 to us, so they probably don't matter, but I don't really want them getting involved. Okay, so Terra is +2 to us, so this should be no major problem. Hello, Terra. So this was her, and now she's a thing. I mean, control click that. Wow. Okay. So one of the problems we're going to have here is we cannot... I don't think we can stun her. Maybe with this big hit, I don't know. Did we? No. And I still haven't been able to get that swarm. It comes in and out too fast while I'm animating. Here, let's see if we can get it. Nope, missed it. Got it. Okay. Let's get the rest of these inspirations going. We may as well finish up. I think we've got her. With the extra damage, we should be okay. Got her. And that's reward merits. We get 32. That's it. I don't understand. Can somebody explain to me what's the algorithm on the reward merits? Because I've gotten in the 50s, the 30s, the 40s. This is a level 37 mission. I don't understand. Why would you only get 32 reward merits? Somebody explain to me what's the algorithm? What determines how many reward merits you get? It's really weird. Let's look at the total we have now. We now have 206. We have 400 to go, roughly, to get our second set of Archetype Origin Enhancers, and then level up! We have completed that story arc. We have leveled up to 38. Let's go and do our level up over in Williams Square. And this will get us our final secondary power called Strength of Will. Probably would have been useful against something like Terra, but we've been fine without it. So this will just be our oh crap power, I believe. And by the way, now that we're level 38, nothing in this zone can really do anything to us, even the snipers, because they're just on level to us. So we're going to train up to a new level of power, train up to next level, and we're going to pick Strength of Will. So let's take a look. Strength of Will is a click power that takes 5 minutes to recharge. It gives 80% resistance to smashing, lethal, 9% resistance to fire, 9% resistance to cold, 9% resistance to energy, 9% to negative, 9%, 9%, and then lots of Mez defense, and then a recovery rate of hit points and a recovery rate of endurance. And what enhancements does it take? Does it say? It doesn't say here. All right, so let's go ahead and take it. Boom. And that power, ooh, that's a panic power. That's, where am I going to put that one? There, I guess. I'm so worried I'm going to hit Hasten when I mean to hit Strength of Will. Well, I don't care about that, but Strength of Will when I mean to hit Hasten. We don't need a Nemesis staff anymore, so let's remove that. I'm going to pop Hasten over there, because that's not a power we need to use a lot. Maybe not. Let's switch them. Let's try that layout. We'll see. If we look at enhancements here. So let's take a look. Strength of Will accepts damage resistance and reduced endurance costs, but not recharge enhancements. So we cannot make it faster. We also cannot make the heal or endurance recovery portions enhanced either. Right? They're unenhanceable, and it doesn't accept those. So it only accepts resistance and reduced endurance costs. Is this a toggle? No, it's a click. And it doesn't use a lot of endurance. So it seems to me like all you need on this is resistance. So I could see just putting 3 slots on this. And then it'll be, the resistance will be plus about 60%. So something like plus 26% resistance to smashing and lethal, and something like plus 14% or 15% damage, cold, etc. So if we look at up here, with it fully enhanced, this will go up to about 65%, and these numbers will go up to about 25%, which is not too shabby. As we have them now. Of course, we have other slotting to do, but as we have them now. All right, folks, I think we're going to stop there. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to now do some flashbacks and get some influence, and then I might actually leave the XP on because we haven't really been rushing too badly through here. What do we have left? We have Kadeo Kestrel, Gordon Stacy. That's it. Oh, and Steve Sheridan. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if all three of these give me level 38 or one of them's a level 40 plus. I think they're all level 38 and 39. So yeah, we have three. Um, Maybe I'll do another one and then do a flashback. We'll see. We're not out leveling the content anymore the way we were in the like level 20 to 30 range. So I don't know that we're missing any story arcs from the level 30 to 35 range anymore. So I'll take a look. I'll check that all out, and when I bring you guys back, if I've done some uh, flashbacks, I'll catch you up. If not, I'll explain what we're going to do. In any case, that's it for this episode. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes.